This is Diane Andrews in Black and White. The issues you don't want to talk about. The arts and entertainment you need to know. And now here's your host, Diane Andrews.
Thank you. Thank you for being here, and I'm your host of Diane Andrews in Black and White. Today we're doing our fourth Walking While Black, and we have some very serious issues to talk to you about. But before I get to that, I would like to thank our TV audience. I would like to thank YouTube for the reception that we are getting. And I'd like to thank all the TV stations that are carrying Diane Andrews in Black and White. We're all over Louisiana, except the New Orleans area. But we're all over the world with the YouTube that you can watch at your convenience, anytime, any place. Today is the day that we're taping. It's the birthday of Dr. Martin Luther King. So we would like to show you Selma. And then on the 19th, we'll be celebrating his birthday. So, but first, I want you to look at this video, and then we're going to talk about some of the great things that Dr. Martin Luther King did. And next month in February will also be Black History Month. Ava DuVernay, the director, is a 42-year-old black lady who got nominated for a Golden Globe. I have seen many civil rights films, but this is one of the best that I've ever seen. With me today to debate some of the issues is one of our old-time favorites, and I mean by many times on here, not age. We have attorney Preston Castile. Thank you for being here again, Preston.
Thank you, Diane.
Now let's
Happy
see.
to be here.
Thank you. Let's see Selma. The Trill.
He's got supporters. Detroit, New York, Los Angeles, inciting large-scale arrests and sympathy marches.
I'm very aware of that, Mr.
Hoover.
What I do know is he's nonviolent. What I need to know right now, what's Martin Luther King about to do next?
Mr. President, Dr. King is here.
Mr. President, in the South, there have been thousands of racially motivated murders.
We need your help, Dr. King. This thing's just gonna have to wait.
It cannot wait.
You got one big issue, I got 101.
Summer it is.
Here is the next great battle.
Selma's the place, and they ready.
Dr. King.
I tell you, that white boy can hit.
You will not tolerate agitators attempting to orchestrate a disturbance in this state.
It is unacceptable that they use their power to keep us voiceless. Those that have gone before us say no more.
People actually say they're gonna kill our children. They're trying to get inside of your head.
What happens when a man stands up, says enough is enough?
We built the path as we came, rock by rock.
His sail is probably bugged.
It probably is.
We must march. We must stand up.
You march those people into rural Alabama, it's gotta be open season.
May I have a word?
There's no word to be had.
The people. The people. The people. The people.
There are 70 million people watching. These pictures are going around the world.
We must make a massive demonstration. White, black, and otherwise. Come to Selma.
I heard about the attack of innocent people. I couldn't just stand by.
Looks like an army out there.
This revolution goes on and on. This revolution goes on and on.
Mine eyes have seen the glory, 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 hallelujah.
What happens when a man stands up, says enough is enough?
One thing that I truly loved about this movie, it shows the frailties of Dr. Martin Luther King. It did not show him only as a hero, which is what he was, but it showed him as a true man who had faults, and he was afraid sometimes, and he always thought of what would happen to him, of the many threats that he was getting, and his wife and family were always threatened. See this movie? I'm in Siskel and Ebert today to tell you this is a thumbs-up movie, and go out there and see it. So Preston, what we're going to see now is another YouTube video. Today you're going to see a lot of videos that we're going to talk about with Preston, and we're going to talk about some issues. A young 12-year-old black boy was killed in Cleveland, Ohio, earlier this summer. In 2 seconds after the police arrived, he was shot dead. He was playing in a park across from his house near his school, by himself, and it turned out to be a fake BB gun. They had gotten a call that there was a boy playing in the park, and the lady on the phone, I heard the 911, said it could be fake. This policeman had already worked in Columbus, Ohio, I understand, in another small town in Ohio, and he was a rookie there, and there may have been some problems because he left pretty soon. But the HR people did not see that he had already worked for an Ohio police department, and he came back and was working in Cleveland. Let's look at this real quick and tell me your perceptions of this one on Tamar Rice. As you see, they've called. I understand the police was not told it may be a fake gun, but as he gets out the car, 2 seconds later, the young boy is killed. He's dead.
Yeah, this is a terrible video. This is a terrible accident. This is not something that I think anyone can defend. I don't think the police officers can really defend this. This is something that should not have happened. It was tragic. It was someone who made a horrible mistake, and I feel for that young boy's family. It just should not have happened. It's terrible, and I suspect that everybody involved equally feel terrible about it.
And I saw how the mother got notified that her son had been killed. It was two of his friends that obviously saw his body laying over there in the park, and they were the ones who told her, even before the police had told her.
Yeah.
About an hour later, I think. They had not notified her that her son was dead.
No doubt about it. And I think part of what may be drawn from this is tying this in with other incidents that occurred around the country in terms of claims of police brutality, and there are truly some things that happen very, very badly. Though I will tell you that when you show this video, though, following the Selma video, there are two very different things going on. It's very contrast, because the brutality that took place in Selma in 1965 is very different from this mistake here that occurred. Very, very wrong. But I want everyone to be very, very clear about, we're talking about two different concepts in terms of that civil rights movement that was important, that changed America, as opposed to some rogue or some bad cop that does something wrong like what we saw in this video.
I agree with you, Preston, because a lot of people are trying to say what's going on in America now is related and similar to what happened in 1965. I think one issue on this movie that I wanted to point out, it was said that President Johnson was displayed badly in this movie, and it showed him as a tough man. But I want people to know, if it hadn't been for President Lyndon Johnson, we probably may not be voting today, because he was a majority whip before he became president, right? You probably disagree with me, but I don't know if Kennedy had the pull to get it if he hadn't had Johnson on his side to make sure he got those senators in the South to vote, because he was the majority whip from Texas.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it in terms of what happened historically, that there are things that happened behind the scenes that made history what it is today. But the question is, that was 1965. Today, in 2015, what are we going to do about that? You know,
no, I meant about Johnson.
Sure,
do you agree that he ended up being a great president for equal rights and human rights?
I think that what happened under his leadership was absolutely critical. It happened on his watch.
That's right.
You know, if you read historical accounts of what he did, you know, he was able to pull people together, pull people across the aisles, and he was good. And from a political standpoint of twisting arms and calling in favors and making things happen, and it happened, frankly, to the benefit of America.
Right.
Not just African American.
It's human rights. I said civil and human rights.
It is human rights, and it is a good thing that happened. And that, again, 1965, 2015, we've made a lot of progress, but we've got a long way to go.
And we have made a lot of progress. Our President of the United States is a black man who got into office. We're going to talk some about Eric Garner, but before we show that video, that YouTube video, I would like to just talk about the police in America. I don't even like to call them cops. I think it's disrespectful, but I guess everyone does call them cops, but I call it the police force. When we get in trouble, what's the first thing we do? If I'm scared at home, I'm dialing 911.
Exactly.
So people need to take that into consideration as we're talking about a few rogue or a few bad policemen in America. There are many policemen in America, and they are mostly good cops. But as we said in our first show with Chief Naps, there are lots of bad seeds in the police department too. And those are the kind of people we want to weed out. But if I were a policeman, I remember one time I got lost. I was with IBM in New York, and I got lost in Harlem. And I was thinking, oh my God, I was driving my car, and you see these homeless people. It was winter, and they had these big tin buckets with fire coming out of it, and I was scared. Please don't let me get stopped at a stoplight, because I was scared myself in that area, because what Harlem was. It's rejuvenated now, but back then, 15 years ago, it was a different city, Harlem was. Now I wish I bought some property there, because the property is skyrocketed in Harlem. We're going to talk about next then, we're going to look at Eric Garner, and I think Preston may have a little different viewpoint than I do on some of the Eric Garner things, but I think at the end of the day we both agree we've got problems in the black community that we need to work on, because I would be, and you would be afraid to go in some of those areas yourself, right, Preston?
Sure,
as a policeman.
absolutely. Any person would be.
That's right. So let's look at the Eric Garner YouTube real quick, and let's see. YouTube, that not many people saw. I didn't see this on television.
You play a hard way for what? Every time you see me, you want to mess with me. I'm tired of it. It stops today.
This guy right here is forcibly trying to lock somebody up for breaking up a fight.
Everybody standing here, they told you I didn't do nothing. I did not sell nothing. Because every time you see me, you want to harass me, you want to stop me, you want to sell a cigarette. I'm minding my business, officer. I'm minding my business. Please just leave me alone. I told you the last time. Please just leave me alone. Please, don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Hold on.
Don't touch me, please.
Came over.
Do not touch me.
Put your hand behind you.
I can't breathe. 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 I can't breathe.
Once again, police beating up on people. Back up right here.
Back up, then get on that step.
Okay.
Back up.
As you see, this was taken by an innocent bystander, as you heard him talk into the video. He just happened to be there, I think, and there had been a fight, it seems. He says that there had been a fight earlier that this guy, Eric Garner, who is now dead, helped break up. And I know that he did not comply when they told him they were arresting him for selling Lucy cigarettes, which even Bill O'Reilly said is a stupid law, but I know police have to abide by the law, and so should citizens. But I think it was police brutality, the way they held his head down, and when he said, I can't breathe, not letting him up. Now, as a former judge and as an attorney, tell me your perception, Preston, of this.
Look, I will tell you that at the end of that video, it's disturbing. This man should not have died. He should not have been killed. That was wrong. But I tell young black men all the time, or just anybody, that when you are confronted with a police officer, you comply. And I've got a son that's a 19-year-old young black man, and I'm a member of the 100 Black Men. We spoke to some young black men this weekend, young black boys, and I said, look, when you are confronted with the police, don't end up dead. Don't put yourself in a position where some police officer, rightly or wrongly, might kill you or might hurt you. So when you look at that video, anybody can see it, and I hadn't seen this one before, but you see an officer, I had not until today. When we see it today, you've got a man being confronted by the police officer, and he's arguing with the police. They try to handcuff him, and he resists, and he put himself in that position. Now, what the police did afterwards, is it excusable? Is it wrong?
Well, they tried to handcuff him when it was only 2. Why did, when the 5 come up, why did they have to lay him on the ground?
But when there was 1, he should have complied.
I agree with that, but just as we said earlier, and we talked about it, your child doesn't do the right thing, or people that work for you don't do the right thing, you still have to address.
What the police did was wrong. What the police did was wrong. But I don't want anyone to take away from this, and I think the rhetoric around the country and the narrative that's being discussed, maybe a bit too much, is it's all about the police. And what the police did, and I want your listening audience to understand, is that I'm not defending the actions of any individual police officers. Because what they may have...
perception today, since I showed you this YouTube taken by a citizen versus what you had seen on television?
Well, I have a different perception in that I see more of what he did, which is what I suspected.
He did. What about more what the police did?
Well, I think what the police did was wrong from the standpoint that once he was down, they probably took it a little bit too far. But at the same,
a little bit, Preston.
They killed him. Okay,
yeah.
he is dead.
He's dead.
He is dead. There is no doubt about it that we wish he were alive today, and I wish he were alive today.
I can't breathe from a legal standpoint, and he said it 11 times. Why didn't they? I don't like when you see in the video, and people out there on YouTube, go back and look at this, when that one policeman held his head down while 5 policemen were there. I'm not saying it's a black-white issue. I'm saying it's a police brutality issue to me.
You've got a dead man. You're not going to get me to say that, oh, what the police did was all correct, because they killed the guy.
Well, and after all this, 5 people there, somebody would say, let's let him up.
Yeah, sure, you would say that. But at the same time, though, what I want your audience to hear, because I'm not sure that story is being told enough, because
I agree with you.
I want to make sure that young black men, women, white, whatever, is that when you are confronted by the police, do not put yourself in the position where that might happen.
I totally agree with you, Preston, but it's not going to happen 100% of the time by 100% of people. It's just human nature.
Yes, and when you look at that video, you've got a dead guy.
What about these black kids over in the youth who are, and we know there's a problem.
Yeah, but there is a movement going on right now,
kids are growing up without a father.
Yeah, but what's going on right now, there is a lot of emphasis on the police, but what you just said on the end is so critical.
When I first started this series, I said blacks have problems in the black community, and the government can't solve all these problems. We need to do more ourselves.
Absolutely.
And we agree with that.
I agree with that, and I think that the narrative, the focus needs to be a little bit more on, are we marching in the streets? Are we protesting? You know, what they did in Selma in 1965 was to change the social consciousness and the laws in this country.
You heard today in Boston, they blocked the streets in Boston, a group, mostly white people, saying that Black Lives Matter. And they blocked the streets in Boston, which I don't think is right.
Black Lives Matter, but Black Lives matter much more than when one police officer or 2 police officers kill someone.
Oh, it's more than that, 200
And what I'm concerned about is that we're not marching about education. We're not marching about the fact that you've got these broken families.
Why don't our black ministers get together? I know there are a lot of black ministers, I'm not saying they're not, around the country, doing a lot of things in the black community. But if we were a bigger and larger force and with more power united together.
And that is the key, is that if you want to honor Dr. King's legacy, if you want to honor Dr. King's legacy, we've got to do more here in 2015. I like celebrating Dr. King's legacy and his birthday, but we now here, living today, have an obligation to do more so that his life would not have been in vain. If he lived today, if he walked back here today, he would be so disappointed to see the lack of progress that we've made in this country.
We have retrogressed.
He gave his life.
The laws are here, but we have retrogressed. It's not all about law. It's about how we live our lives.
It is about how
and behavior. It is about human behavior and behavior in the black community. 93% of black on black crimes, but also 84% on white crimes are created by white people. So what we need to do, it's really about human rights. It's really about human behavior, because we're turning more into a society that has more problems with the criminal justice system. Even back in 1964, when he said, when he went to St. Louis, we were 10% of the population, we were 58% of the crime. And he said back then, Martin Luther King, something needs to be done. But what have we done? What have we done?
It sounds like a statistic today.
Right.
It sounds like a statistic.
It's even higher today. But let me make one more point. Today it came out that George Soros, the billionaire, they have found links to him sending protesters and paying $33 million to send protesters into Ferguson, Missouri. Even when the riots, I will call them, were happening in Ferguson, they were saying no one, it was only like 1% from Ferguson. So I think some of this may be coming from outside influences to make the situations even worse than they are. Since that was shown today on Fox News, I heard that this morning, so you can look that up, that have links to the billionaire. I don't want to disparage George Soros and him come after me, but they have links to him paying people, funding the riots in Ferguson, and they're investigating New York also.
Yeah, I haven't seen that, but I will tell you this. What someone should be doing, what we should be doing, is funding ways to improve our educational system so that we don't have these problems.
How do you suggest funding these ways?
I think right here in this country is that we spend a lot of money on education. I mean, the money that we spend right here in East Baton Rouge Parish, we spend $10,000 per student? Can we do a better job? We've got 20 failing schools right here in North Baton Rouge where we are in this area.
Right.
And no one's burning
What
down
are they saying?
businesses.
What do you
Nobody's
think of Common
doing that.
Core then that Jeb Bush, who's probably running for president, is a part of, and that people are talking about doing the Common Core? I don't know a lot about it, but do you think it's a good idea? I don't know if you know more than I do about Common Core.
I know some about Common Core, and personally I think having a uniform standard is a good thing from the standpoint of the country. I think if we're going to compete with the rest of the world, because we've fallen so far behind, we've got countries like Finland, we've got countries like Korea that have far exceeded our kids, and so we've got to have a national model that certainly improves our educational system. So we're obviously doing a horrible job.
We believe, and I agree with you, going to the right track. Now,
But here's the connection, though, Diane. The connection is this: is that when we fail in our educational system, when we fail with our families, and when they're destroyed,
75% of all black kids are born with only one parent.
When that happens, then we see the symptoms of that in terms of all the crime that occurs in this country, and then we react to it when there is an incident like Ferguson and New York. But I want us to be real
the
clear.
media. That's what people see.
They
don't
media
see
has
the
done a
cop
great
going
job
out.
with
There's
this.
a video I couldn't show it here, but ABC News did something on it. It's in Alabama, near Selma, that this white policeman went out. This black lady had stolen 3 eggs. She left, it was, the dozen was $1.75. She left $1.25 on for the 3 eggs. They called the police on her anyway. The policeman paid for the eggs, and then the next day, they put it on YouTube. It went viral. She had a refrigerator full of good food for her and her daughter and her granddaughter to eat. So it's good stories out there about good cops also.
Yeah. But look, let me be real clear. One of my brothers is a cop, so I like cops. They're good people.
Some of them. Some of everybody.
As a general rule,
yes.
and there are always exceptions to the rule. There are good teachers, there are bad teachers, there are good ministers, there are good lawyers, there are bad lawyers. So we can't be caught up in the exception to the rule and something bad happens.
But we have to know there are exceptions, and they should be dealt with properly.
And they should be dealt with properly. So my colleagues like Benjamin Crump with the NBA, National Bar Association, that is an important crusade. I think that, and by no means am I disparaging that effort.
Do you think Al Sharpton is our leader?
I
in
think
the black
Al,
community?
he has a following. So when people are following you, you're probably
you become
leading.
A leader, right? You're
so,
an imam in the Muslim
now, whether
area.
someone believes that he's a good leader or not a good leader, the reality is that he has a significant following. Do I agree with everything that Al Sharpton says? No, I don't think anybody agrees with anything that anyone says. But the reality is that if you don't think he is a good leader, then someone else should step up.
But let me ask you this. We're talking about how to form solutions. He has a major following in the black community. Do you think if someone like Al Sharpton, Benjamin Crump got out and talked about what we're talking about today, solutions in the black community, and not just showing up, and I'm not saying that's the only time they show up, but when they show up, when the Fergusons, when the Staten Islands, do you think if they took a different stance in the black community to push more of education and more of let's have 2-parent households, do you think that would make a difference?
Here's what I think. I think Benjamin Crump, Al Sharpton, and those who are involved in that movement, God bless them. I think that that's what they should do because that's what they're working on.
What do you call that movement, Preston? I'm just
the
wondering,
movement is
what's it called?
Benjamin Crump is representing clients.
Right.
He has clients that he's representing. I've represented clients of
families. What is the movement, though? He's not in the movement. Sharpton is the movement, right?
I think Benjamin Crump is a part of that because his clients have been begrudged. They're dead children that he is representing them and their families. So that's important. But in terms of the movement, we represent the movement, Diane. You do. I do. People like us, your listening audience has the ability to step out there and say, and make a change to our educational system, make a change to our judicial system. In the churches, every one of us in our own way is a Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. But we've got to be willing to step up to the plate, step out there like Al Sharpton, like Benjamin Crump, like those people who we see on television. But we got to fight for those things that we think are important.
We're out here trying to make a difference with this show. That's why I started.
And I think it's a wonderful show, and I hope it runs forever. But I do think that those issues that you're bringing, that people need to pay very close attention to because it will change America.
Well, what I would do is for us to challenge people out there, especially go to your minister, go to your pastor, go to your rabbi, and say, we want to make a difference in the world, and how can we do it in this church? I know in the black community, the largest concentration of us every Sunday is in the black church. So I am challenging.
But we've got to organize. We've got to come together.
I am challenging ministers to come together out there for the good of one. Not for the good of one church, but for the good of one human race and one community in the black area that is suffering enormously. Anything you'd like to leave?
Well, I will tell you, at the end of the day, you're absolutely right. And there are some good programs together. Baton Rouge is doing a great job. There are some
Reentry, had Chico Yancey on.
Yeah, but we've got to certainly have a much more systemic approach. That is, we all have to come together and have a very, very specific strategy of how do we help solve the problems in our community.
And anyone who wants to send to my email account, you'll see our email, our Twitter, our Facebook, our Instagram. Please send suggestions to us so we can help make the world a better place, starting in the black community right now today who's suffering.
And every community.
Yes. Welcome back to Diane Andrews in Black and White. When we took the break, Preston and I started talking about Selma, realizing that Dr. Reverend T.J. Jemison was consulted by Martin Luther King on how to do his Montgomery boycott, because in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Reverend Dr. Jemison did a boycott in Baton Rouge, and he was also from Selma. We thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting, the parallels. You know,
yes.
Dr. King, of course, got a lot of credit for the great things that happened, but we've got people right here like Dr. Jemison who made an incredible contribution to the movement that changed America as we know it, not just Louisiana, not just the South, but the entire country. So he's one of those great heroes right here in Louisiana.
Unspoken, kind of. We know about him, but really unspoken.
Unsung, yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
Unsung heroes like the music show.
Exactly.
He was also the president of the National Baptist Convention for 12 years, which is the largest organization representing Baptists around the world. So we want to give a thumbs up also to Reverend Jemison, who has gone on now, but we really thank you for the things you did. And as saying that, thank you, Preston, for being here. And you can sit here while I do my little ritual
if you want. Thank you for having me. Absolutely. I'll be happy to.
We agreed to disagree, but mostly we agree on everything. Maybe a little different slant on it, but I definitely agree we have got to do something in our own communities, and all communities should start.
Sure.
You all know from watching the show that I believe, and I used to see a ritual of lighting a candle when I was a little girl growing up in Marouge, Louisiana, up near Monroe, which is up near Shreveport, which is up near Arkansas. If you don't know these little small places in Louisiana. And it said if everyone lit just one little candle, what a bright world this would be. And I've tried to live my life. That was one reason I wanted to do the show. And I hear people saying that it's very informative for them and that they're learning a lot. And that's really what the show is about, is for people to learn a lot and to maybe be able to understand things and know things better in their life of how to handle things, from domestic violence to bullying and to feeding America. I'm doing hunger later today. It's a shame in this world what's going on, but we can all make it better. And I challenge you, as we did the ministers earlier, please go out and make this a better world. Thank you very much from Diane Andrews in Black and White. Shades of gray, always in between the black and the white.